Howdy, howdy. This is Charles Fire Yourself Fast Alvarez here. And that's little old me right there on the left, right next to that gorgeous lady named Beth, who is my wife of 16 years. And I am a very, very blessed man. Anyway, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I find it mind-boggling why so many entrepreneurs say they want help with their stalled business, and crazy, all I do is work lives. Yet, many business owners don't do much more than whine, complain, or moan about it. It's seriously frustrating for a strategic growth coach like me to see business owners struggle like that, especially when you don't have to. But thankfully, you were smart and decisive. In other words, instead of moaning about how much your business stinks and how your life is hard, you did something about it. You took action. And although you probably didn't have to move heaven and earth to be here right now, here you are, watching your very own Fire Yourself Fast case study. That is awesome. Congratulations. Anyways, before we dive in, let me take a quick sec to recap and refresh your memory about why you're here and what you're going to learn in this next few, potentially, life-changing minutes. I'll also take a few seconds to tell you a little bit about who the heck is Charles Alvarez? Why should you care, and why you should listen to me? Now, my guess is if you're watching this video, it's because you own and operate a professional services practice. I'm also going to take a stab in the dark here and pose a theory. You're interested in quickly and affordably building the foundation for a practice that you can grow, thrive, and prosper in without you, right? If not, this video may not be the best or smartest use of your time. Okay, that's it. To get to the most immediate benefit from this video, so you can walk away and implement some of the nuggets I share, whether we work together or not. Your professional services practice should have revenues between $500,000 and $10 million a year, which typically translates to a minimum of 5 employees. If that describes you, then pay attention. You'll be extracting some powerful business growth nuggets in the short few minutes that follow. But if you're not quite there numbers-wise, I'm not saying you can't benefit from this information, because you can. I'm simply saying it might not be as impactful as it could be. That's all. Still with me? All right, good. All right. There are a few things the entrepreneurs I work with over the past 4 years, excuse me, have in common. And if you're here watching this video now, you may or may not relate to some of them. So let me ask you, do any of the following sound familiar to you? Are you frustrated by the lack of productivity from your team? Are you constantly being sucked back into the day-to-day operations of your business? Do you feel like you're running an adult daycare? Or are you flat out mad because your margins are not where you know they should be? Are you working way too hard, long days, late nights, and weekends, but your bank account never seems to notice? Do you wish your employees would think out of the box for a change for once in their life, instead of bugging you for everything all the frickin' time? Are you afraid of what would happen to your business if you took any time off for any reason? Are you stressed up to your eyeballs by what your business is doing to you and your close relationships? Do you feel trapped by a job that you hate instead of thriving in a business you love? And do you feel enslaved to every beck and call of your clients and your business? If you answered yes to any of the above, and if you're sick and tired of how your life and business is coming off the rails, then you're most definitely in the right place. How can I be so confident? Because truthfully, clients bring me their crazy, chaotic lives and businesses every single day. And I quickly restore order and sanity back to thankful professional service practice owners. It's what I do, and it's what I am. All day, every day. Except, of course, weekends when I'm chilling with these wonderful people here. I've got 4 great kids. I spend much needed downtime with all my amazing wife and kids. And if it's a Saturday, you'll probably most likely find me at the ball field with my boy. Anyway, here are just a few reasons I'm supremely confident I can add value and help you. So, here's why you might want to listen to me. Number one, I spent 6 years at Accenture, used to be known as Anderson Consulting, where I helped streamline business operations for many Fortune 500 companies, like ExxonMobil, Shell, Chevron, to name a few. At the tender age of 25 years old, I was the youngest person ever to achieve a manager title at Accenture. Also, after only 19 months, I sold a $250,000 project, which was unheard of. Then, at the age of 29, I got fired from Accenture when we were doing some major work for Enron. After Enron went belly up, the entire Houston community was devastated. To top it off, I was newly married with a newborn baby and no income. Thankfully, I was able to land and I was able to create a financial services business from scratch, and I built it from zero to about $1.5 million in 8 years through Smith Barney and UBS, only to be fired in 2011 by UBS. It's a long story, no reason to get into it. And I went from being dead broke with a wife and 4 kids to feed to building one of the largest consulting franchises in the state of Texas. I'm also currently the co-owner of a successful air conditioning company here in Houston called Hex Air. I have a 97% success rate with professional service practice owners who implement what I tell them to do, because I know from tons of experience what works and, more importantly, what doesn't. And lastly, and this is so exciting, over the past 4 years, I've had the pleasure of working with over 104 professional service practice owners, adding over $54 million to their bank accounts. The bottom line is, I know what I'm doing when it comes to helping professional service practice owners, just like you, scale their business, so that you can quickly begin building the foundation for a business that grows, thrives, and prospers without you. So instead of me blabbering about myself, here's what we're going to do. We're going to lift the skirts and take a peek at a few of my clients' businesses. We'll go over their problems, the solutions, and the result. We'll review the problems they came to me with, the solution we created for them after their initial Fire Yourself Fast audit, and most important of all, I'm actually going to share the results achieved from implementing the plan resulting from my client's Fire Yourself Fast audit. You'll also learn if it's the right time for you to start scaling your practice. These 2 critical tests will tell you immediately if you're ready for scale. And by the way, not every practice is ready. Number 2, what to do now to prepare the foundation for scalability so your practice can grow, thrive, and prosper without you. How to almost instantly steal some of your time back from your selfish business so that it stops consuming your life. As a result, you get less stress and more time. Next, you'll also learn best practices and key insights from my thousands of hours of in-the-trenches experience working side by side with over 104 professional service practice owners over the last 4 years, and how one simple yet powerful shift can get you to higher revenue, more productive employees, and personal freedom. In fact, this small shift was critical to how I've added over $54 million in revenue to my clients' businesses in the last 48 months. So listen, for the next few minutes, please give your full attention. I know it sucks sometimes because all everyone does is take. Gimme, all day, every day. So, take a small stand for yourself right here and right now, and give yourself this small gift of time, and really focus. Turn off your cell phone, unless of course you're watching your video on it or this video on it. Ignore your email and social media notifications. Better yet, turn them off for now. Trust me, they'll all be there when you're done, and they're not going to go anywhere. And if you're at work, tell your staff to hold all calls and interruptions. Tell them you're in a meeting. Just let them know the first person to disturb you is fired. Just kidding about that last one, but you get the gist. Because if you pay attention, take notes, and actually implement what you'll learn from this video into your business, the next few minutes could change the course of your business and your life forever. I'm not kidding. Fire Yourself Fast isn't just a slick name for a marketing campaign. No, It's who I am and what I do. And my clients trust me because of my experience to help them build a foundation for a business that can grow, thrive, and prosper without them. Want proof? Here's what a few of our clients had to say. Doug Colvin, CEO of IE Smart Systems, said, when we met Charles, I was working 70 hours a week without ever feeling I was caught up. I had to constantly get back into the weeds of the operation. Caused me to not only lose sleep, but prevent me from going out there and selling. After working with Charles and his team, I'm not able to work on the things I love to do versus have to do. And my business is finally growing. Lou Nieto, owner of Nieto IT Services, says, I got to the point where I was sick and tired of having to work my butt off without any increase in my business profits. My team was not performing up to my standards and I was about to quit. Then, in a last-ditch effort, I engaged Charles Alvarez. The end result, I went from $4 million to $5 million in sales in 12 months, and I've started 2 other businesses with the time Charles helped me steal back. Mike Ratchford, owner of AGBS Safeguard right here in Houston, said in business, I realized I couldn't do it alone. In order to get my business to where I wanted to go, I knew I needed outside help and outside perspective on what to do to take my business to the next level. We now have a detailed yet simple plan that's easy to execute to get my business to the next level. Jeffrey Abel, more on him later, said prior to working with Charles, I was overworked, frustrated, and exhausted. With Charles' rock-solid process, my team and I were able to determine exactly what was missing for my business to take it from where it was to where I wanted it to be. And the system we've put in place, have allowed me to increase my revenue, free up my time, and do it faster than I ever thought possible. That said, let's dive headfirst into the case studies. First one, Jeffrey Abel, like we said, you'll hear from him shortly. When he first came to us, he was stressed out, tired, and frustrated because he felt like he was Atlas. You know, the guy who basically is sitting there with the weight of the world on his shoulders to move the business forward. As it was, when I first started working with Able Design Group, they're doing a very respectable $1.9 million in sales, and they had 21 employees. But Jeff was 100% responsible for all sales at his firm. He's working 55 to 60 hours a week doing both business development and design. Because of that, Jeffrey was overwhelmed and was losing out on growing the business because he had to be involved in the day-to-day operations or stresses of the business versus doing what he loved most, which is business development. In addition, Jeffrey had to be project manager on smaller jobs that needed his constant oversight and attention. Needless to say, he was stressed out and getting burnt out on the business due to its demands. His studio leads were acting more like designers than executives. No one knew where they were heading, and they were all rowing the boat or the business in different directions. The solution? I came in and did a fire yourself fast audit and designed a program to address his weaknesses and fix their many bottlenecks. During the implementation of the program, Jeffrey and the other studio leads worked together, got on the same page, and started to work towards a common goal. They were able to create a simple yet powerful plan that engaged, empowered, and encouraged the team. We also empowered Jeffrey's studio leads by making them responsible for the process of setting goals as a team. As a result, after 12 short months after completing the Fire Yourself Fast coaching program, the firm grew from 21 employees to 46 employees. Their sales went from $1.9 million to $3.6 million, which is a $1.7 million increase. In addition, and this is so cool, Jeffrey cannot remember the last time he worked more than 40 hours. By participating in one of our Fire Yourself Fast programs, Jeff has stolen back over 720 hours a year from his once selfish business. He's now concentrating on opening up a new office in Austin, Texas, and he now spends most of his time doing what he loves to do, which is business development. The studio leads and the project managers now sharing the business development duties so that Jeffrey doesn't have to shoulder the entire burden. And because his staff now looks for opportunities to regularly take things off his plate, Jeffrey is now considering opening up 5 new offices across the United States, now that his team is all moving in the same direction and all together. In addition, because the team were all rolling in the same direction, profitability has also increased 22% over that same 12-month period. And now that Jeffrey has ripped his time back from the clutches, from the dead cold grip of his business, his family doesn't hate his business anymore. And he was able to take a 3-week vacation to Europe with his once neglected family. Pretty cool, right? Well, I think so at least, and so does Jeffrey. Okay, so before we get to our next case study, let me make good on my promise and share a few juicy tips that can help your business immediately. Also, I'll be sharing more after the following case study, how to know beyond a shadow of a doubt whether or not now is the right time to start scaling your business. These 2 critical tests will tell you immediately if you're ready for scale. And like I said earlier, not every professional service practice is. So here it is, how to know with 100% certainty if you're ready. Number 1, if you've hit a glass ceiling on your revenue in your business, and no matter what you do or what you try, you can't smash through it. Number 2, if you have no time, either personally or professionally. If both of those or one of those describe to you, it's definitely time to scale your business so you can start building a business that can grow, thrive, and prosper without you. Which is a perfect segue to the 2 things that you must do now to prepare the foundation for scalability so that your practice can grow, thrive, and prosper without you. So here are the 2 things you must immediately do. Number 1, you must immediately set up systems to track and measure accountability. We call them key performance indicators. Number 2, you must create a work environment that fosters employee buy-in, loyalty, and personal growth. Your goal is to build a company people love to work at, so someday you do not have to. Fair enough? All right. So, 3 key insights that I have distilled from the thousands of hours of in-the-trench experience working side by side with over 104 professional service practice owners just like you over the last 4 years. Here they are. Number 1, these are the 3 key insights to truly start scaling your business. Number 1, when setting goals, set business and lifestyle goals. For example, it's one thing to say I want to grow my sales 20%. It's something entirely to say I want to grow my sales 20% without working more than 40 hours a week. Number 2, hold your team accountable with KPIs, key performance indicators, and KRIs, key risk or key result indicators, to ensure the right things are being done on a consistent basis. And number 3, to scale your business and free up your time, you must have a scalable lead generation and selling system that does not require your direct involvement every single time. All right, hopefully those were helpful to you. On to our next case study. So this is Jing Johnson. Jing Johnson is the founder and president of a company called the Prison Group. And when I met her, she was literally working like all the time. I mean, we're talking 60 to 70 hours a week, including many long days, late nights, and most weekends. And as you can probably guess, she was really, really stressed out. Not to mention, she was missing tons of time away from her family and felt horribly guilty that she almost never saw her boys or her husband. She was missing her son's piano performances and wasn't able to attend any parent-teacher conferences, which was incredibly important to her. Sadly, like a lot of business owners, she didn't have any time for anything else, besides, of course, her business. She was so busy with the day-to-day grunt work, working in her business to keep it afloat, she couldn't work on her business, so it could eventually grow, thrive, and prosper without her. So she could finally fire herself. Like many of the professional service practice owners we started working with, Jing was wearing a ton of hats just to keep her business alive. She was the VP of sales, the VP of marketing, the operations manager, the bookkeeper, and the quality control manager. What's worse, she was stuck doing time-intensive tactical duties she absolutely hated to do, including being the project manager on all of her projects, managing the quality of the renderings her team was creating, billing clients, collecting from clients, and paying her vendors. And although she had a team of project managers, it really wasn't enough to keep up with the growing, relentless demands of her business. And as her company grew, the quality of work suffered, and she wasn't able to retain the clients she wanted to retain. Also, because her managers were being improperly managed, there was no process or accountability to make sure Jing was getting the productivity and quality she needed from her team. The solution? After her Fire Yourself Fast audit, I worked with Jing and her team to establish both company and personal lifestyle goals. Her goal was to achieve a 40% growth rate, and she didn't want to work more than 45 hours a week. So we talked about what the business needed to look like to support her goals. During the process, we identified who her target market really is, how to measure and manage the productivity of her team. We created and installed an accountability system to ensure everyone is doing the right things and at the right time and in the right order. We created a simple yet powerful strategic plan to act as a North Star to guide her team, keep them moving forward, rowing the boat all in the same direction at the same time, and with the same standard of quality. As a result, after 12 months, Prism was able to grow their business 78%. 78%. Without, here's the beautiful part, Jing working more than 45 hours a week. The team at Prism knows exactly what to do, and more importantly, when to do it. And they have a newfound sense of purpose and direction. They know where Prism is heading and how they can grow their careers inside of the company, which brought much needed employee buy-in, stability, and job security. In addition, due to constantly high quality standards, Prism's client retention rate went through the roof. They went from 18% retention all the way up to 91% retention in just 12 short months, which, by the way, is unheard of. Jing is now 1,000% more fulfilled both personally and professionally. And what's great, now she gets to spend a lot more quality time with her family, and she's free to work on the aspects of the business she loves, developing her team and creating solid relationships with new clients. And did you know, like Jing, you're just one simple yet powerful shift away from higher revenues, more productive employees, and personal freedom? It's true. In fact, this one small shift was critical for Jing's success, and it's a secret to why I've been able to help add over $54 million in revenue to my client's business in the last 48 months alone. It's so simple, yet so powerful. A lot of really smart business owners miss it because the shift can only be done by you. It can't be done for you because it takes place in the 6 inches of real estate between your ears. Yep, inside your brain. Okay. The one small shift so many business owners miss is this. You ready for it? Here it is. You must be willing to admit you need help. Not that you want help. Wanting help is great and all, really, but that's not what we're talking about here. No, you have to be absolutely, positively know you need help, or you're going to snap. You're going to quit, or worse, think about it. If you don't think you need help, you're not going to get any, and your situation is most definitely not going to change. Well, at least it won't change for the better, and sadly, it'll probably get worse. Don't let that be you. If any of this resonates with you at all, and if you're 100% ready, do something about it. If any of this resonates with you at all. So, if you're 100% ready, click the big blue button now below this video and go ahead and schedule your Fire Yourself Fast audit today. I hear a lot of people say you've got nothing to lose, but honestly, that is straight bullcrap. And here's why. If something doesn't change and change quick, you've got everything to lose. For example, like your sanity, your family, your friendships, maybe even your health, dignity, and self-respect, if you have any of that left. You know, the things that you can't put a price on, so stop spinning your wheels and grinding yourself into an early grave. Stop doing the ridiculous, tedious, low-priority, time-consuming work if it drives you nuts and make you feel like a slave. Get help so you can start working on high-value, high-priority activities that'll finally move the business forward. Take action and schedule your audit now. There's no pressure and there's no obligation, only solutions. I've been in this game far too long to try to hard sell anyone into working with me. Plus, I learned long ago that people who need to be hard sold make the worst clients. No thank you, don't need any of those. Besides all that, I currently have over 35 clients, so I really don't need your business. Believe me, I have plenty to keep me busy. Thing is, I have some projects wrapping up and some consulting engagements that are coming to an end. So, I'm creating room for 10 high quality clients, and maybe that's you. Clients I can strategize with and ultimately help deliver big wins for both personally and professionally. If that's you and you're ready for a change, remember, I have a 97% success rate with professional service practice owners who implement what I tell them to do because I know from tons of experience what works and more importantly what doesn't. If you're ready, I invite you to apply for an opportunity to work with me because I consistently deliver life-altering results for my clients. The 10 spots will go fast, I guarantee it. To request a Fire Yourself Fast audit, simply click the big blue button below this video now. After that, you need to answer a few simple questions about your business. To number one, see if we're a good fit. And number two, to establish a baseline. So, when we jump on the phone, I can quickly discover what and where your bottlenecks are and review the options you have, if any. Sadly, I can't help everyone. On the call, we'll get to work and immediately start solving your most frustrating business challenges. And because I work with over 104 professional service practice owners, adding more than $54 million over the past 4 years, I know how to quickly pierce the heart of your biggest business challenges and create near instant solutions so you can start to implement them immediately, faster than a cheetah on fire. In fact, I might even introduce you to some other entrepreneurs who want the very same things you want. So, if you're ready for help and want to work with a true professional, I'll be there, hey, with bells on, if I still have one of the 10 spots open. And when you have questions, we'll get answers, guaranteed. I'll stake my $50 million reputation on it. So, here's the deal. I've helped deliver sanity, freedom, productive employees, increased revenue, and more cash flow to these entrepreneurs. And I can help you too. Are you finally ready for a practice that can grow, thrive, and prosper without you? Click the big blue button now and schedule your Fire Yourself Fast audit. Okay, for some reason you're still here, so how about a few more tips and case studies? Cool with you? Good. Let's drive right on in. So, number one, how do we almost instantly steal back some of your time from your selfish business? Here are three quick steps. Step number one, pick 2 tasks that take you 30 minutes to an hour to complete and that you end up doing every single day for some reason. Maybe you're a control freak or you just think no one else can do it as good as you can. Whatever the case may be, pick 2 tasks. Number 2, assign an employee to train over the next few days who needs a challenge and who would love some one-on-one time with you, the boss. Then number 3, for 2 weeks, have that employee check in directly with you, even if they have an immediate supervisor, to make sure the task is being completed properly. Note, after the 2 weeks are up, move to weekly check-ins, then bi-monthly, and then finally monthly. Do this right, and you can immediately save 30 minutes to an hour a day. That's up to 25 hours, a little more than a half a work week. A month, you can now invest in repeating that process to free up more of your time. Or you can use it to create more revenue-producing activities. Hey, it's totally up to you. All right, on to the next case study. So this is James Porter. When he first came to me, he already had a very successful business. They were doing $3.6 million in sales. However, the operational aspects of the business were in bad shape. He was extremely frustrated with the bottlenecks in his business and wanted to overcome them quickly so he could grow. A few of the challenges slamming the brakes on James' growth were, His scheduling and operations team could not process calls fast enough. He had the wrong people in key positions. He had outdated business processes that required a lot of manual labor. Jobs weren't completed because they were missing parts to complete the job, and there was little to no accountability with team members. So, the first thing we did is came in and did a fire yourself fast audit. After reviewing his business processes, we learned there were unnecessary redundancies in the scheduling and dispatch process. So we worked with James and his team to streamline the business process so that more calls could be processed with the same number of operators. Then what we did is determine who did what and when in every single stage of Coastline's business processes. Then we designed a 2B business process that reduced manual labor and leveraged their scheduling software to its fullest of its capabilities. As a result, after only 5 months, Coastline went from being afraid to hire more technicians because they could not handle the added volume to hiring 2 additional technicians to support their growth. And they were able to do this without adding a single person to their front or back office operations because we streamlined the operation. 17 months later, Coastline is generating close to $4.4 million in sales, which is an increase of over $800,000, with a higher profitability rate and the same number of staff due to the improved processes implemented in the back office. James is now able to focus on being the CEO of the company versus getting bogged down in the day-to-day operations of the business. He now gets to focus on what he loves doing most, meeting with existing clients, going on sales calls, establishing the vision of the company, and developing strategies to continue growing the business. James now has a lot more time to hang out and have fun with his friends. Here's Jared Aiden. Jared Aiden is the owner of a wonderful company called Lens Engineering. Much like the last case study, Jared Aiden had a very successful business. They were doing about $1.3 million in sales and generating $135,000 a month in new proposals, projects they were bidding on that needed to be followed up with. But he was frustrated with the business because he kept hitting a self-imposed revenue glass ceiling, never generating more than $135,000 a month in proposals or more than about $1.3 million in sales. He was overwhelmed, and the amount of work on his plate was stressed and burnt out. He found himself doing most of the sales and a lot of the design work. And like most other entrepreneurs, at one point or another, Jared found himself wearing just way too many hats. He was not only doing the job of an engineer, design, delivery, site surveys, and project management, he was also doing all business development. All. He realized he couldn't start working on the business because he was too busy working in it. And he desperately wanted to fire himself fast from the never-ending merry-go-round grind he was on. Jared wanted to lead the business forward instead of being stuck in the mud, having to be the office fireman putting out fire after fire in the business. So here's a solution. After Jared's initial fire yourself fast audit, the first thing we did was create a sales process to go after Lens Engineering's target market, which as it turns out were architecture firms and real estate developers. The new sales process included everything from generating leads to closing sales, and it had all the bells and whistles along with it. Once the sales process was established, Jared began a recruiting campaign to find an outside sales professional. Within 3 months of working with Lens Engineering, we helped them find the perfect salesperson to implement their new and improved sales process. After 6 months, as a result, Lens Engineering has gone from generating $135,000 a month in proposals to $427,000 a month in proposals. I think it's safe to say we helped Jared successfully smash his glass ceiling. In addition, he now has more time to work on the business versus in it. And now, for the first time in a long time, Jared really enjoys being the CEO and the freedom it allows him. Instead of having to be a slave to the day-to-day whims of the business and the CEO and the COO, operations manager, sales manager, outside salesperson, chief bottle washer, etc., Jared now has time to develop a relationship with a woman he hopes, fingers crossed, might someday be his wife. You go, boy. So here's the next guy, Gary Remy, owner of a company called Bizopia. Great guy. He and I have become really good friends over the past few years. Gary came to us because he has been in the crazy and often stressful web development business for over 14 years. How many people do you know have been in the web business for 14 years? Anyway, recently they expanded their service offerings to include social media and pay-per-click campaigns for its clients. But Gary's biggest frustration was that he could not scale sales, even with a larger service offering. He desperately wanted to fire himself fast, but he was the sales engine of the company. If Bezopia was going to close sales and bring in revenue, Gary had to do it. If a sale was to be made, it was up to Gary to generate that sale. In other words, Gary was the only one at the company who knew how to go on a sales call, do the proposal, submit the proposal, follow up on the proposal, and ultimately close on the proposal. After repeatedly banging his head against the wall, he realized he would never be free unless he was able to scale his sales process. Freedom to Gary meant that the business would grow without him having to go on a single sales call or close another prospect. The solution? Well, after Gary and his team at Bezopia did a fire yourself fast audit, we took a look at the cash flow situation and realized Gary couldn't afford to invest the capital in the high quality salesperson that we needed. So the first thing that we did was create a low cost referral process and a remarketing campaign geared at his existing clients in order to generate more leads and create more sales fast. Next, we helped Gary document the sales process so he could quickly onboard and train a new salesperson without it taking a ton of Gary's time. The result, after 11 months, Bezopia went from $950,000 in sales to closing in on $1.3 million. By implementing the referral process and cross-selling other services to their existing client base, Gary now had the cash flow he needed to hire the right outside salesperson to continue to grow the business. Gary's relieved he can finally see the light at the end of the tunnel. And now that Gary has a reliable, dependable sales professional, he was able to fire himself fast from the sales process to focus on more productive revenue growth activities. Here's Rusty Moffett. When we first met Rusty, who's the owner of a company called Moffett Services, we came to the conclusion that he is an excellent leader and a very, very gifted salesperson. And from the outside, his business looked very successful. I mean, my gosh, they were generating approximately $450,000 a month in sales. But as you know, looks, well, they can be deceiving, especially in Rusty's case. The challenge, like many entrepreneurs, was he was completely bogged down by his business. And he told me point blank how completely miserable he was in his business / quote unquote job. It's true, on paper at least, he owned his business. But in reality, the business owned him. It was so bad that Rusty was spending up to 30 hours a week alone working on petty accounting issues, even though he had 3 people working in accounting, and it was driving him nuts. He was stressed, overwhelmed, and secretly sometimes felt like throwing in the towel. He hated being forced to work in his business and desperately wanted to work on it. The last place on earth Rusty wanted to be was super glued to the chair in his office. So it makes complete sense. The very first goal Rusty set after we started working on his Fire Yourself Fast plan was to fire himself fast from personally dealing with all these accounting issues and instead go out and do what he loves to do most, speaking with potential clients, close business, and drive revenue. So here's the solution. Because there was no accountability in the entire organization, I mean nothing, the first thing we did was create key performance indicators for each role in the organization. This included sales, marketing, inside sales, outside sales, and most importantly, accounting. When we established a weekly accountability meeting to ensure everyone was being held accountable to performing the duties expected of them. After that, we used the 80-20 rule to discover who the most important clients were for Moffett Services. This would really allow Rusty to focus his business development efforts on the most profitable revenue sources for Moffett Services. As a result, in a span of just 6 weeks, we slashed Rusty's time on accounting from 30 hours a week down to 10 hours a week. So Rusty took that immediate time savings of 20 hours a week, which is about half a work week, and invested it in what he loves to do, business development. And now that Rusty is happily working on the business versus inside of the business, as you can imagine, his results are nothing short of spectacular. He was able to secure a $1 million contract after floodwaters enveloped Houston, which he would not have been able to do if he was spending most of his time putting out accounting fires. Also, his team now looks forward to taking things off his plate because they know in doing so, Rusty uses that time to generate leads, grow revenue, and bring stability to the company. And the best part of it, Rusty actually loves his business again. And he has been able to add nearly $100,000 a month in cash flow, pushing his total revenue well past $5 million a year revenue mark for the very first time. That is awesome. So, I've learned a ton over the past 4 years working with over 104 clients, helping them add over $54 million to their bank accounts. Now, you can take my experience and use it to fire yourself fast, especially if you're fed up and frustrated by the lack of opportunity from your team, constantly being sucked back into the day-to-day operations of your business, feel like you're running an adult daycare. Are you flat out pissed off because your margins aren't where they should be? Are you just working way too darn hard and your bank account hasn't noticed? Do you wish your employees would think outside the box for a change instead of bugging you all the time? Are you afraid of what would happen to your business if you took any time off for any reason? Are you stressed by what your business is doing to you and your close relationships? Do you feel trapped by a job that you hate? Do you feel enslaved to every beck and call of your clients and business? If you answered yes to any of those questions, I highly encourage you to set up your Fire Yourself Fast audit now. Listen, what it truly takes to steal back your time, reclaim your life, is to admit that you need help. Someone to hold you accountable. Put your feet to the fire. If you can do that, and I say if because a lot of business owners are stubborn control freaks who refuse to change. But when you do, you simply fill out the questions best you can, then you'll book your audit using my online booking calendar. After we talk, we'll decide if it makes sense to work together. Fair enough? Again, this is Charles Fire Yourself Fast Alvarez, and hopefully we'll talk soon. So go ahead and click the big blue button below, and let's get this thing moving. Are you finally ready for a practice that can grow, thrive, and prosper without you? So go ahead and click the big blue button now and schedule your Fire Fast audit now. Hey, why are you still watching this video? You know you need some help. Let's talk and see what we can do.